Welcome to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Owen Hayes. You're watching Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented to you by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Yes, yes, yes. We've got a great show lined up for you this morning, and I hope that you have a chance to catch the whole thing before you go out and maybe go catch some fish, because it's been good. Yesterday, the reports kept coming throughout the day as I'm actually messing around with duck hunting gear, which, yeah, I'm happy to do that. And trust me, we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the show. But throughout the day yesterday, I was getting reports from down low in the system, way up high, and later on in the show today with our special guest, TJ Hester from Hester Sport Fishing, we're going to get another report from way up there, Hanford Reach area. It's so good up there. He's chasing salmon, everyone. A lot of you are like, oh my God, we're going to talk walleye. Well, yes, I'm going to try to get a little info on that as well. But this morning, he's already done. He's limited his boat out with clients on Chinook, and he did say that it was kind of a comeback as opposed to how things have been here recently. So we're going to check in with TJ for the first time in a while, way too long. As always, a fun interview, great guy, and just a really cool dude overall. So we're going to check in with him, find out how things have been, and ask him why he couldn't wait to get one more fish on the air. I'm kidding. Of course, like we always do in our upcoming segment, we'll have my report to share. We kind of shared it a little bit already. Fish counts, we're not going to do the 10-year because it's pretty much what you would expect. But the fish counts are very interesting, especially if you're trying to extend your fishing on the Columbia. But remember, there's a lot more going on than just the Columbia. Up and down the coast right now, the fishing has been really good. And if you like to chase silvers and tributaries, other than maybe the Oregon tributaries where they're just lockjawed, there's been some really good opportunities, and you just need to get out there and take advantage of them. This is that time of year where you're going to have those opportunities, especially along the coast. It's with this rain that's coming up this upcoming week, things are going to change. I guess I should say this week. Things are going to change quickly. And for me, hopefully it's just more water for the ducks to land in. Anyway, of course, we're going to check in with Katie Suniga and find out what this weather's actually going to do. Let's hope that it stays accurate and continues for like 4 months and doesn't stop raining. Again, that's me being selfish, but I'd love to see that if at all possible. Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. It's that time of year. You can see I'm holding the studio duck calls and goose call, but we're going to talk about decoys. Okay, this is a topic that we cover, pretty much every year. I don't know if we covered it last year or not, but I brought in 4 different setups of decoys. Why there are so many different versions? Well, there's decoys that I carry around on my back. There's decoys that I carry around in the boat only. There's different weight systems. Also, we're going to take a look at I'm not going to say the most popular. Nationally, the most popular way to rig decoys is a Texas rig. Okay? I am not a huge fan of this, and that's only because of the way that I hunt and where I hunt. I might be changing my mind, though. I just got to figure out how to store them, right? But we're going to go over the differences of those, what those advantages are, and why I actually do it that way. I've been doing this for a long time, carrying my decoys on my back for a long time, and I'm getting old. I don't like them heavy. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can take standard decoys and lighten them up to where you can, pack 2-3 dozen. Whew, maybe those days are on. 2 dozen, 2 dozen on your back and make it, okay, which is important because it can get a little interesting if you're unaware. So make sure you stick with us for that. We're going to have that in the Chevy Silverado Tech Tip of the Week. Then we're going to have the final pike minnow numbers for all of you that have spent time on that. Just a quick little number, 157,000. No, that's not dollars, although it could be. 157,000 pike minnow removed from the system. By the way, that is literally a fraction of what's out there. So somebody made a bunch of money, and that's the only number that I'm still curious about. Ryan, let's get that. I want to find out. Okay, listen, we've got phone calls that are coming in. So before we get to your photos, be patient. I might burn a little time here. Let's talk to Peter. Peter has a report from Eastern Oregon. Is he talking about duck hunting? Peter, are you talking duck hunting or big game?
No, we're opening deer season.
Oh, very good. How'd it go?
The boys got a nice little 4-point yesterday, and the weather is fantastic over. Actually, too hot.
I was going to say, I heard that it was very warm. When I left just a handful of days ago, it was starting that warming trend after it being cold, which didn't do us a lot of good chasing elk. But the deer were running around, thank goodness for me. But a nice 4-point. How's the crowd? Is there a bunch of people that are in your area, or is it kind of quiet?
No, it's not too bad. They were only to see one buck. They didn't see anything in the afternoon. They saw this one in the morning. So, hey, another thing I want to talk about, I was at Bowie 10 last Saturday.
Yeah.
And we got a couple silvers down there. But I tried a new little tech tip for the viewers out there. So you know the K15s or 13s or even mag lips?
Yeah.
They all have a bill on them, we'll call it, right?
Sure.
So if you take like a spin fish and drill a hole on off center and then put your dual lock in that, they rotate very well in the water. Now, I didn't catch anything on one. We got those silvers on the spinners, but I was experimenting with things. So if you got some, and I even did a mag lift and stuff like that. So if you get some old plugs that you're not using anymore, drill a hole up there like they do on the spin fish and attach your dual lock to that, and make sure you got a 6-speed swivel on the other end, and that thing rotates pretty good in the water.
Well, that's interesting. You know, I actually know the story behind the spin fish long before it was anywhere near Yakima bait, right? So it was a couple buddies. They had these thoughts in their head on what they could do, and one of their original prototypes, if I remember the discussion from the original owner, that's kind of how that all kind of materialized, but it's an interesting story. I don't know if I'd recommend taking a $5, $6 plug and just punching a hole through it, but maybe like what Peter said, an old one that's been beat up, you know, maybe that makes sense. But Peter, thanks for your phone call, your report on Eastern Oregon on how that rifle season is starting out. Hopefully you get some cool mornings and some cool nights and things will pick up for the movement over there. By the way, I've already eaten some of my little guy. Delicious. It's worth it. Delicious. Peter, thank you. I appreciate your phone call, bud. Can we get Richard in, or am I pushing my luck here, Ryan? Okay, Richard is from Kenmore. He's got a report from Area 10, and we always try to get Richard in. He's always got great info for you that spend time up north in that Puget Sound area. Pay attention. Richard, it sounds a little breezy.
Yeah, it's getting our butt kicked out here this morning, and we're losing fish this morning. Lost 2, and just kind of wrapping up the season. Today is my last trip on the salt, and so I had a question for you, man.
Yeah, what's up?
Dude, so I bought the Shimano Dakota 600, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, these are the best reels ever, bulletproof, no problem, smooth carbon fiber drags, right? I got you so far?
Yeah, yeah.
So 2 years and I've blown this thing up. And I, for $250, that's a lot of money for only, maybe 100 trips, 3 hours a whack. Is there a reel that you think's good enough for the saltwater applications? I've used Penn Squalls, Penn Warfares, this Dakota, and boy, I'm just having a hard time finding any good products anymore.
Okay, so you kind of caught me. Maybe some of you very savvy folks that watch Outdoor GPS know. Over the years, I've literally had every reel sponsor that you can possibly think of, honestly, and most of you are well aware of that. As we stand right now with this economy in this nation, which I don't want to get too sidetracked, we have 0 reel sponsors right now. That's never happened. 15 years, everyone. Things are weird, things are weird, things are weird. To answer your question, Richard, I am not going to slam my previous sponsor of Shimano, which I am a huge fan of. You all know that was one of my proudest moments.
I love the reel.
Bringing Shimano on, and one of the worst days was when Shimano was unable to re-sign with us. So that's being completely honest with you. They are it's not my favorite line counter. The Dakota is a very good reel. There's no question. It's a very well-built reel. It's a Shimano, for crying out loud. It's one of the best reel manufacturers on the planet. You can't argue that. But I'm not a fan of the Dakota. So for a number of different reasons, without getting into the weeds, I don't want to go too far. And the reason being is because there's another reel that's out there that I absolutely love. And I was kind of in the middle of it when Carmen McDonald, rested his soul, kind of put this whole thing together, is the Okuma cold water line counter. Now, there's two different versions, okay? There's the stainless steel version of the cold water line counter from Okuma. All right, it's all stainless steel guts, great drag. I mean, these things are made to pull a truck, and that's what his mission was when they were putting this reel together. It's just the hybrid of that low-profile Okuma cold water reel. All right. Now, you all know that Okuma was one of my sponsors for a decade, literally 10 years. All right, that's in pause, hopefully for now. But if I were you, Richard, I would highly recommend that you invest or take a close look at the stainless steel Okuma line counter, okay? They do make different sizes, so just go look into those. But they're about $100 less in price, depending on the size, close to $100 cheaper. And those reels are bulletproof. I have one of the prototypes, and I will admit all my rods and reels, I spread them out a lot, so they don't get a ton of use in one rod, except one. And that has a stainless steel reel on there. That's the original prototype that I was given by Carmen himself, and that thing still works perfectly. So I would say try that out. Just give it a go, and that might be the reel that you ultimately go around. It's a really, really impressive reel for the money. So at least, Richard, give that a try, okay, bud?
Awesome. I appreciate it, Owen. I wasn't meaning to slam your
Nope.
previous
And I don't think that you
there.
did. Reels
I
are reels.
really love that carbon fiber drag.
True.
It just blew up on me. It sounds like a coffee grinder now. So.
It happens a lot, to be quite honest with you, and it's a drag that's well known for being spongy, right? Where the drag will not back off on its own, but become very, very soft, where you're having to manipulate that drag a lot in order to keep a consistent drag as far as the fish pulling on it or whatever it is that you might be doing. And a reel that is that expensive, that's very frustrating, but it's also something that they're well aware of. And I would say in the next iteration of that Dakota, I'd be shocked if those issues weren't remedied. It's still a great reel, don't get me wrong. But it's something that you can...
Do I send it straight to them to get it fixed?
I would, unless you have somebody local that can repair reels, because a lot of places that are local, depending on what you have up there, I would assume that you got to have a reel repair place up there in the Puget Sound area. If they're a certified repair shop, send it there. If not, I would absolutely wouldn't hesitate to send it right to Shimano, ShimanoUSA.com, actually. Wow, that's kind of amazing how that works. And they can line you up. Perfect. But Richard, thanks, man. I got to cut away. Good luck to you. Be safe up there, and I can't wait to hear more of your reports in the future. All right, everyone, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with the field report, fish counts, and give you some thoughts on what you can do this upcoming week.